Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of my tutorial series. In this episode we're just going to be talking about lions, all things lions and villagers. So there are a couple of key things to remember about lions. First off, very dangerous to single vills, right? We can demonstrate that very easily. Say you're moving, you're paying attention to something else, and then your lion starts getting an attack on you, and if you just try to fight this against two lions, your villager just dies, right? So lions come in pairs, typically. They're going to come in pairs a lot, and they're going to just kill you. If you have single vills out exploring the map, looking for those critical early resources, this is really going to slow you down. So a big question that a lot of players have is this just RNG? Are there ways to beat this? And the answer is yes. There are ways to beat this. As well, it's also RNG, right? So if you're not paying attention, or if you get if you get caught off guard, even experts are going to lose vills to lions at times, but not every time, because there are techniques that you can use to beat these lions. So we're going to go over a couple of key tricks. One of them is a lot of times if you're doing a forward rush or something, you send two vills forward, and if you have two vills forward and you're paying attention, and say, oh, you spot these lions, right? So we just came into vision. Note that the lion latch rate isn't really the same as the vision of the villager. So that's the first key step. It's recognizing that your villagers can see further than lions will typically aggro. Now, stuff can happen with them and they can be weird, but if you have two, then 2-on-2, if you get the jump on them, you can just win this really easily. Notice, like, they're not even going to get close enough to do any damage. So if you're paying attention, you can beat him 2-on-2. You can even beat him 1-on-1 if you're paying attention and you only aggro one at a time. A little bit riskier because you will lose some more damage on that one vill. He'll get pretty low, but you can beat that. You can win that fight. We can demonstrate that here, right? So you can win a fight against two lions if, like, you're a little lucky, I would say. But you fight one, and then you go and fight the other. This one was already hurt, but that being said, you guys get the gist, right? Like, you can fight one then the other, but a lot of times when lions are an issue, it's when you're not watching the villager that's running into it. So that being said, there's another technique that you can use on water maps. So we're going to pay attention to the coastline here, right? And we'll see that there's this little water feature here that looks like a little divot of land, like a little shore part. Lions can't run onto that. They can't fight you here on this like certain shoreline terrain when it's next to water. I don't know if it's that they don't fit or if they don't like if this is technically considered a shallow. I think that's what it is. This is technically shallows because boats can also travel over this little bit of land. So lions can't go over that. They stay off the water at all times, meaning that you can just freely kill it as you please. You'll see that the lion will, if I don't let it take extra damage, you'll see he'll run right up to me probably. Yep, and then we'll just go up to here, and we can fire at him. Sometimes they'll lag out and try to attack. Other times they'll run away because they realize that they're in danger. But that being said, just that alone saves you a lot of HP on your vills, which when you're scouting, it's really important because you don't want to lose damage. You don't want to lose HP on your scout, because if you lose too much, the threat of another lion is enough to send that villager home, and you'd have to send a new one out to go scout. So that being said, I hope that explains, the coastline, not bug, it's like a feature. So they also don't go over shallows, like the crossing terrain. So that's something else you can keep in mind. That being said, there's a few more things that we can think about here. One is hill bonus is very effective for vills versus lions combat. You'll see I could get both of them here, and if you, well, I guess I can't get both, but you'll notice that they kill them in one less hit because of the downhill bonus. You see we're doing 6 damage a hit there, which is critical. So you can kill them in 4 hits rather than the 5 hits for standard. And if they're up a hill, you're kind of out of luck here because you don't get the extra damage bonus. They don't do any extra damage, so this is just like you're fighting on flat terrain, which again, 1-on-2, you can't do, although that guy's going to run there. So there's sometimes lions will run away if you're hitting from max range with the spear. The lion won't see where the attack's coming from, and it'll bug out and run away. That's just something that happens. I don't know if there's a science to it. If there is, maybe someone can correct me on that. I don't think there's like a specific situation that dictates when lions run. I do know that they run if you attack them from that coastline. That's something, if they can't get to you, they'll run. But that being said, there's one last thing that we should cover, and it's called house tricking, or the house trick. You can do it with any building, but the most common is the house trick because it's so early on, and you're not necessarily going to be floating a lot of wood early on in the game that you're fighting these lions. So one of the things you can focus on is remembering A, your hotkey for the house, and B, learning this trick. It's pretty straightforward. So the principle is, when you place the building, the foundation is walkable, right? You can walk over the foundation of this building. All units can walk over all foundations before you build anything in them, right? So if I put this villager to go build, you'll see that he'll start building right there. And he builds from the edge of it, right? And now that it's built, right, I can no longer walk over it. He's going to have to path around. Secondly, if you place it, one thing to notice is when you right-click it, there's like this little animation that the villager does, right? And we're going to abuse this, right? Because turns out that Gaia respects this animation for building, similar to your own units, right? So if we bring another Vil here, we're just going to get him on top of this here and stop him there, right? So he's in the way for building this, but if we go to click this, he'll move, right? So this Vil just moved. Now, that being said, we can aggro 2 lions here. Aggro 2 lions. And as you're running, you want to place it so that your Vil is going to turn around at just the right time, right-click the building, and then you run. So first off, one of the primary aspects of this is that we didn't... So you can see that was a little messy. Sometimes there's some extra right-clicking needed if you don't perfectly place it. But if you get a perfect house trick, it's going to look something like... Hopefully I can do it here. Oh, no, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. There. So there. So they're just going to run off to the side, and you'll be out of aggro range, hopefully, if you move away. There's a bit of a delay on that, so we're going to bring in a healthy Vil here. And I hope that explains how this works. I mean, again, you can do this with any building, but just remember that if you place a barracks, for example, and you try to do this with a barracks, right, so yeah, he's going to go to the edge, right, yeah, it worked. But when you delete the buildings, yes, you get the full wood cost, but if you build even just, if this goes from 0% to 1%, you then start getting a diminished return cost on the wood value, right? So right now, if we delete it, we go back up to 181 wood, but if we build even just a little bit, you'll notice like 166, and I'm pretty sure that scales. I'm not exactly 100% on that. Like if you delete it here, the ideal would be to go up to 166, but I think we're not going to go. Yeah, we're going to go up to 145, and if you build more, it's even less. So it's based on the amount that you do. So if you start placing big buildings to do this, you could accidentally or just run into an issue where you invest wood in something that isn't permanent and that you don't want to be investing wood in. So that being said, we'll just do another quick demonstration as to what the goal is with this, with the actual micro. So when you have the Vil, you'll notice that what I do is I'll have the Vil running, and then I'll go to place the building, and I want to click it just as the villager gets to the edge, right? So just as the Vil passes through the entire thing. So the lions are chasing him, yeah, and you just do bop, right? And so when he turns around, it's like you did, oh, whoops. When he turns around, it's like he, it's like you right-click the building, like exactly. And if you miss it, and like the lion's like attacking you, you can also do it right when you're both on top, but if you do this, you're going to have to be a little bit, you're going to have to be careful about that, because you can get this, you can re-aggro and stuff, but there, that's what you kind of want. You want it to be like in the exact moment, and then bop, you run away. You can also do it underneath, but that's a little riskier. I don't find that always works. I like to do it when he's on the edge like this, and it's just like a very, it's hard to get perfect, but like that. And so we did get to 1%, but if there's a lion on there, the Vil's going to wait for a sec, and if you see the lion run, you just run the Vil, delete the house, and the Vil is safe free. So again, I hope that explains all the questions. Using the hill bonus, using the house trick, one Vil can do it, but it's going to get damaged. One vill that you're not paying attention to will die. Two vills, when you're paying attention, will take basically no damage. Use the coast, and again, the house trick is probably your best bet in most situations to just avoid the damage altogether. Because if you scout lions like this, one big thing here is I have now scouted where lions are. If you're paying attention, you can see the move. Like if you're playing all the way zoomed out, I guess it would be like here would be all the way zoomed out typically. You'd see if this lion starts chasing nothing, that means that it's chasing, because you'd see this chase a unit in the fog, right? You could see him, you would see him start running after whatever unit that would be, and that would give you intel as to if your opponent has villagers. Depending on the time, it could also be axers or slingers or like a scout. If it's like if it's not stopping to do damage, it's just probably chasing a scout. So there's a lot of info you can get from these lions by leaving them alive on the map, which is why a lot of players like to keep them alive. That, and also if your vill doesn't take any damage and gets away from the lion, that's a big win. So again, I hope that explains lions and how you deal with them. Lions don't get scared by elephants, and the elephants don't get scared by lions, but lions will hunt gazelle and eat them. And if a lion kills a gazelle, it's as if a military unit killed gazelle, so you won't get food from it. So you really want to make sure if you do see lions in your gazelle patch, stop it at all costs. Like, just fight the lion early if you need that gazelle, because it's just going to keep spreading and making chaos. Again, yeah, thank you all for watching, and be sure to check out more of the tutorial series. I think the next one's going to be on storage pits. So, later.